It's more than just your output, more than a bike. When you hear your shout out, you know it's all right. Put on your magic pants and let's go. We're cruising into the power zone. Clip in, set yourself free. Come on and take a ride with me. You know what you need to know and what's it all about. Everything you need, it's on the Clip Out.
Welcome to the Clip Out, episode 388. This is Crystal O'Keefe.
And this is Tom O'Keefe. Hello.
Hello.
See a little professional wave I did at you there?
I did.
I was like, hello.
Hello. I'm going to do my Princess Diana, show how old I am.
Yeah.
That is,
Ooh, I want to get in a car with you.
Yikes.
Too soon?
For me.
It's been like 30 years.
I know.
Or 25.
A long time.
It's been a long time.
I think it's been 30.
No, I think it was the late 90s.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was on the radio at the time.
Okay.
I was
my sister passed away in 90. That was 33 years ago.
Yeah.
So definitely, I think it's been a while.
So I was driving into work. I was doing the overnight shift on the alt rock station in town.
Okay.
And there was a Saturday night show that was kind of...
You were already working. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was a Saturday night show called Joe and John.
Yeah.
Which were very much like a wacky morning radio show, except they were only on Saturday nights.
Yeah.
And so they would always do like very like...
And John is not really wacky in real life.
Not anymore anyway,
No.
but he was back then.
Was he?
Yeah.
Okay.
But they would always do stuff that was, you know, lowbrow, edgy,
Wacky?
kind of sometimes tasteless.
Oh.
So
I think I see where this is going.
if you remember the way the story broke, she's in a car accident, right? And so I'm driving into work and I have it on the news station and I hear that she has passed away. And so I flip over to their to the point to listen on my way in, and they're doing all these jokes about her. And I realize they don't realize that she has died.
No.
Like they just think it's a car accident and they're making all.
No.
So and I'm a part-timer and I'm like, so there's a special number you can call into the radio stations that's not the request line that the DJs will actually answer, right? And I'm like, I have that number, but I'm like, I was always scared to call it because I'm a part-timer, right? Like it's called the hotline.
Yeah.
You don't call the hotline.
Yeah.
And so I called the hotline and they answered the phone and I'm like, guys, she's dead. And they're like, what? I'm like, she died. Do you know she died? Like, she is not alive. And they were like, oh my God, we had no idea. And I was like, yeah, it's all over the news. And
Please shut up.
Yeah, please stop talking. And they were like, thank you so much.
You cute little part-timer.
Yeah. So I was just like, yeah, I'm like, that's going to end a career if you're not careful. So
I'm sure they apologized appropriately. Or at
I
least change gears.
I think they changed gears. I think they just tried, because it was this is before everything could be captured.
Right. So they just started talking like they just found out. And then because they did just find out. And yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
So anyway,
yeah. It's a different world now.
Yeah.
Now
Very
you have to issue an apology.
Yeah. Now
and an apology video.
Everyone would already have the audio. But who's taping radio at... I mean,
unless you're waiting for your favorite Nirvana song to come on.
Seems unlikely.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's an unexpected stroll down memory lane.
Yeah.
So what, pray tell, do you have in store for people this week?
Well, ironically, we're going to talk about Nirvana later.
Oh.
Bringing the 90s back. But we are also going to talk about Becs and her amazing feat that just finished moments ago.
Yeah.
It's been quite a 7 days. Whew, I'm tired. I don't know.
Yeah, I took a nap right before we recorded for that very reason.
We're also going to talk about Peloton having a special event they hosted in Nashville, Germany celebrating 5 years, the turkey burn classes, how they booked them differently this year. Also, there are some really fun stories that showed up in the news. Hannah Corbin talking about her Hashimoto's, Rob and Arzon talking about diabetes. Mm-hmm. Adrian is working on something. So we're going to talk about all of that. The latest artist series. We're going to have a visit. We are not going to have a visit. I said that wrong. We are going to be talking about the TCO top 5 and the other content that is coming out this week. And we have some competitor news. And I think that is all.
Awesome. Well, before we get to all that shameless plugs, don't forget we're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, TuneIn, wherever you find a podcast, you will find us. While you're there, be sure and follow us so you never miss an episode. Maybe leave us a review. Super helpful. Greatly appreciated. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/theclipout. It's a great way to stay up to date on things throughout the week. You were updating people all week long about Becs and her accomplishments.
Yeah. What a roller coaster.
Yeah.
I wasn't running, but I sure feel like I have been as exhausted as I am.
You can
It's ridiculous.
You can also watch us over on YouTube, youtube.com/theclipout. You can check out our Patreon, patreon.com/theclipout, where for $5 a month, you get the joy and pride of supporting the show. Just all the different things that go into all this. Microphones and electric
Articles.
But for $5 a month, you get bonus content. We record an extra episode every week for you. They've been pretty long the last couple of weeks.
We have been chatty.
We have. And then you also get ad-free episodes. And then if we get an episode early, you get it early. Last couple of weeks, they've gotten it really early, like before noon.
I know. Last week, it was like 9:30 you were sending that out. I was like, what is happening over there?
The new people are getting spoiled.
Yeah.
And this week on the Patreon, we will talk about, we have one final story from New York we forgot to tell.
It's the most embarrassing one for me.
Yeah. It's a thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's wait.
So I was like,
hold it for the Patreon.
We didn't embarrass you on the podcast about this. And so she didn't want me to embarrass. So the compromise, the marital compromise that we have reached is we will embarrass her, but it will be on the Patreon.
Yeah.
So it's not as widely known.
Yeah.
What she did.
Yeah.
So, and no, she did not like poop herself in the marathon. That's what people will probably think, right? Like,
no shame if you did.
No,
if anybody out there did,
Yeah.
I understand, but no, that was not me.
Yes, but that will be over there this week. Also, don't forget we have a newsletter. You can sign up for that at clipout.com, where you'll get a weekly email ish that has all the links and things, and it's just a little reminder that we exist.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's all that. Let's dig in, shall we?
We shall.
Peloton in the news.
Peloton Nashville had a last minute little event, just all of a sudden, like, surprise, we're doing a thing.
They did. And so here's my theory of how this went down.
They forgot about it?
No.
Somebody's like, oh shit, is that today?
I don't think that
Put
at
out
all.
a tweet.
But they did just open this micro store in Nashville. And so I think that was a factor. And I also think the fact that they recently inked the deal with the promos of the 58th annual CMT Awards. CMA Awards. So I think because that got finalized, they were allowed to move forward with this. So it worked out perfectly. They had Tammin Sursok and Caylee Hammack in store. And so I did not realize that Tammin Sursok, I'm not exactly sure how you pronounce that.
Right.
She is a Peloton ambassador, which I did not know.
Yeah.
And Caylee Hammack is one of the rising country music stars that they are going to be focusing on. So she might also be one of the people that we're going to see show up in the rising country music classes that they have going on.
Seems logical.
Right? So the same day, November 19th, they were like, we're having this thing today, 5:45 to 7, show up if you can. And it was going to be a very limited event. Keep in mind, this is a micro store. So literally it is a kiosk in the middle of the mall.
Right.
This is not like a huge event space. So I don't know how much room they truly had, and I don't know how many available spots. But either way, really cool that it was able to do. They had a whole conversation about fitness insights, like how to get fitness in your schedule when it's really jam packed.
Right.
They also talked about how to use music to supercharge your workouts and get your fitness goals accomplished. And they also had an awesome Black Friday deals going on in store that you were able to pick up while you were there as well. So I think that's really fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Peloton Germany is celebrating 5 years, or however you say 5 in German.
I don't know.
Probably it's like 5.
All I got is 1, 2, 3. That's as much as I can do.
And what does that mean?
1, 2, 3.
Oh, Well, that would have came in handy the first 3 years.
Yeah.
But doesn't do us much good now.
I know. I totally admit that.
Ich bin ein Berliner.
Well, something about Berlin.
Today
German?
I am a Berliner.
Oh. Whoa. I thought this video was fun that Irene did, though. She shared a video. It was just before the first Peloton German class in 2019. It was during rehearsals. And so she was sharing it. And I just thought that was really fun, to see. It's neat to go back when we see the old ones that from the 23rd Street studio. So it's pretty cool to see them from the German studio as well.
For sure.
Yeah.
And that's the image you're seeing on the screen right now if you're watching on YouTube. And if you sign up for our newsletter, there'll be a link.
Yeah.
And it'll take you right to that post. So you don't, if you're curious, you don't have to go digging through the Instagram. That can be a chore.
Mm-hmm.
The turkey burn is just around the corner, and this year booking the classes was a little bit different than it was last.
Yeah, usually they allow you to book classes Thursdays about 6 weeks out, and we have noticed the last several special events that they've had, it has been at different times. There's been some that show up on a Sunday. There's been some that show up on a Friday. This particular one opened up on November 15th at noon Eastern. I thought that was interesting because really, it didn't give people a lot of time to address it. So that means that you're kind of self-selecting for people who are in the tri-state area or who already were traveling to New York. So it's just kind of interesting that they did it that way. I know a lot of people who they're not usually in classes, able to get classes, were able to get this, and they were very excited.
Yeah, I wonder if, while it does kind of force you to be in the tri-state area. I mean, that's probably true in most instances anyway. Like, I wonder if what they're doing is by not having a set rhythm for the really sought after classes, it stops the people who are super familiar with the system from...
You mean the people that go in and demand a silver card?
Yeah.
No, those people will still do that.
I mean,
they show up everywhere and they demand to be on camera no matter what the situation. Those people will still do that. I promise.
Well, yeah, because those people are making an end run around the system entirely.
Yes.
But the people that are utilizing the system, that have figured out the rhythms of it.
That's true.
Like this kind of takes away one of their powers, because if it's just going to pop up kind of randomly, you never know when to be ready.
No, I get what you're saying. And I think that does add a layer of fairness. It just also takes away a layer of fairness too, in a different way, because people, when they have 6 weeks to plan, it's a lot easier to get a flight. I mean, a week before Thanksgiving isn't really going to happen for most people. Even if you could get the available flight, the cost might be prohibitive, not to mention not spending time with your own family. So there's a lot going on there.
For sure.
You're going to also, to be fair, this particular one, you would also be self-selected to be probably already in this tri-state area, because why would you want to spend Thanksgiving with a bunch of strangers if Thanksgiving was important to you?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I don't know. Have you met my family?
Yeah, I love spending that time with your family.
I'll spend it with some strangers.
Do we get to play spoons with your family?
No, that's taking your life in your hands.
I know. It's so much fun.
Soundgarden wrote that song about them.
Just can't use plastic spoons because they will get broken.
Yeah.
Like
you'll get cut your hand open. Give yourself a self-inflicted stigmata.
Yeah, your sister is killer with the little looks that she does. Woo!
Yeah.
Stay out of her way with spoons. I love it.
And coming up after this, we're going to give you a big, giant breakdown about Becs Gentry and her Great World Race. So stick around.
Instructors in the news.
Becs Gentry completed the Great World Race.
She did. What a roller coaster this week has been.
Absolutely.
I mean,
so Hannah
no, we're not done.
Is there more?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna dwell on this a little bit. The adventure, if you're not familiar, and I don't know how you can't be because I never shut up about it. So it's 7 marathons on 7 different continents in 1 week. You have, from the moment that they start, you have 168 hours to finish all 7 races. And with travel time and everything, that means a very hard cutoff for some of these races. So And it was supposed to start on, I believe it was the 15th of November. It was supposed to start on a Thursday, but because of a really bad storm coming into Antarctica, they had to start a day early.
Gotcha.
So the weather window was narrow. They had to get to Antarctica and they had to get right back out. So they went to Antarctica, and that was the race that Becs was most nervous about. She hates to be cold.
Yeah.
She has that, I think it's called Raynaud's, that like makes your nerves, like it makes you really cold all the time, and it hurts.
Okay.
Like it's a painful cold, and she gets it in her hands all the time. She feels cold all the time. These are all things she said during classes in her lives. And so she was really concerned about that, and she completely crushed it. They did that one, and she made it look so easy. 2 world records were broken out there. One was broken by a gentleman named Willie, who he broke the fastest time by 14 minutes that had ever been recorded in Antarctica.
Wow.
And then Ashley Paulson, who's an iFit instructor, and we've talked about her before because she's done some amazing feats as well. She broke the record for the overall record. I can't remember how long, but she broke the record as well. That was really cool. And then they traveled to Cape Town, South Africa.
Okay.
And everything from then on was just like the times were really kind of crazy.
Right.
They had a lot of problems with, so Twitch, there was a Twitch channel, TLDR, who is they are launching their channel on December 4th. So they decided to go along with this and see if they could get enough, like generate enough buzz to like help their launch on December 4th. So this guy named Ben, a week before this, had no idea this race existed, that he was going. He was completely and like with a week's notice just popped on a plane and went, which was really cool. And they had so many problems trying to get the Twitch channel, especially in Antarctica, because it was crazy weather. And there's like, they had to use Starlink. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, there's like satellite.
Yeah.
Because there's no real infrastructure.
There's nothing. Yeah, they had little, like, they look like little temporary igloos set up as kind of a base. And when they landed, they talked about this on the live stream. It was crazy because the entire airstrip was covered in ice and snow.
Yikes.
So when they landed, they couldn't come in like this because of the wind. They had to come in like this. So when at an angle,
tilted to an angle. Yeah.
So for those of you listening, when you take off in a plane, you know that circle that it does before you go down and it like tilts at that crazy angle. That's what it was like when they were landing. And it was on purpose, like it was controlled, but it was super scary. That was also the plane that they used for, it was the old Rolling Stones touring plane.
Oh, that's cool.
Is very cool. So at that point, everything went super smoothly. They get over to Cape Town, South Africa to do the second race. And there they had major issues with everything. They had to do it in the middle of the night. They had to, the stream wasn't working for at least the first half of the race. It was kind of chaotic. So this guy, Ben, who's doing all the streaming, has no idea who Becs Gentry is. He doesn't even understand what Peloton is. And because he's never been exposed to any of these things.
Yeah.
So he rolls with the punches. He sees all the stuff coming in, and like the chat was so lit up at every one of these races. And the first one had all kinds of instructors were there. All kinds of Becs beasts were there. I felt a little bit sorry for the other racers because anytime anyone else got attention, it was
they would complain.
They would complain.
Yeah.
I remember at one point there was somebody had come over the finish line, or no, they were halfway through. It was King of Chemo, who has been diagnosed 4 years ago with terminal brain cancer, and he has decided to use his remaining time on this earth for good. So he's raising money. And he's doing these races to raise money. So they're doing an interview with him. And there's so many people in the chat take the camera and put it to the finish line. We want to see Becs. And it was not in good taste. Like, I know people were just excited, but it was not the best look for our community in that moment.
Yeah.
Ben was a complete professional, rolled with it after he was done. He was like, oh yeah, we're not going to miss Becs. Don't worry. We did end up missing Becs, but not because of him. It was because so many people jumped on the live stream to watch her cross the finish line. It crashed the stream. And they had 0 followers at the beginning of this. They now have 3,500 followers.
Okay.
And so back to South Africa. She makes the South Africa one look easy, and 5 of the women crossed together, which was really, really cool.
Yeah.
They were like, no women left behind. They all wanted to support each other. It was also cool, just like iFit and Peloton instructors, joining together. Like, that was a very powerful moment. There were a lot of moments that I teared up. Every time Becs Gentry crossed the finish line, looked at the stream and saw all her supporters and started crying, I cried like every single time. And then they were off to Perth, Australia, where 4 of the women crossed together at the same time. Then they went to Istanbul, and in Istanbul, everything got crazy. They were supposed to do Europe, Asia, but because all the times had kind of been messy with all the planes, they had to flip-flop it last second. Okay. And so it went the opposite way. And then they did both of those races. And that is where there was kind of this turning moment. I got a little nervous mom energy came out, because she did one of the things. They had the 2 Istanbul ones. One of them took place super late at night for them. And then the next morning they had to do another one. So like, I went to bed watching her finish one, and when I woke up, she was finishing a second one. Within a 12-hour period, they all ran 2 marathons back to back within 12 hours. And they were all feeling it that night. Like, you could see the energy was down. I was worried. And then the next...
And I would also think, like, you have just kind of like that pent up nervous energy for the first 2, 3, and now it's like the reality setting in of like,
this is just non-ending.
Right.
We're just going to keep doing this over and over again. Yeah.
Like Sisyphus.
And also keep in mind the weather changes, I mean, you're going from an extreme of negative 42 Celsius to 23 Celsius to then going to, I don't even know what they were in the 2 Istanbul regions. And then the second Istanbul race, something happened with her foot, and she was like saying it was the worst pain she had ever run in. She crossed the finish line. She got it done. And she was asked for a medic. It was bad. And I was real worried at that point, because now we're at race 5 of 7. Yeah. And she was like, I will finish this. I don't care if I have to walk. I am doing this. I want to make you guys proud, which Becs, we'd be proud. Like, oh my God, everything you've done. Are you kidding me? and in her mind, she's like, I trained 9 months for this. I came all this way. I'm finishing it, which I get.
And I also think that like at this point, and you're like, I want to accomplish this. And you also don't want to have to start from scratch.
Hell no.
So it's like, I'd rather do 2 hurt than have to wait a year or 2 and then start from 0.
I completely understand and agree. And then I guess they gave her, I don't know exactly what happened. I saw people talking about, I did not hear this with my own ears, that they had given her some medication to help with the pain. But the next morning she showed up to do number 6, and she was in great spirits. She finished it in like, not record time for her, but like fastest that she had done so far. I think it was 3:02 that day. And at this point we are now in Cartagena. And so now they're in Cartagena, and now she only has 1 more. And then they go to Miami, and Austin and Tallulah show up, and all the Becs Beasts show up. Robin Arzon was there. Alex Toussaint was there. Ali Love was there. Camila Ramon was there. And they were all right at the finish line. Other people had to stand back because they were going to take their pictures and they were going to do their video. But, they made it about Becs. And I have to say, sometimes I say about these instructors, they're not always the most delicate when it comes to social media. Like, they got to have the attention. That's their job. So I get it.
Yeah.
But I want to be very clear and give credit where credit is due. They made it about Becs. Like, the stream was saying like, interview Ali, interview Robin, interview Alex. And they were like, this is about Becs. This is about, and when Becs came across the line, they were there to support her. They talked about her. It wasn't about them. And these are all people who are used to having a lot of attention.
For sure.
It was really beautiful to see the true teamwork that they had there, and the support for each other. That was really amazing. And when Becs got to hold Tallulah, there went the waterworks again. And Tallulah just grasped onto her like a little, just like a little.
Where have you been?
Yeah, like well, they've been talking a lot on stream and stuff, but yeah, it was really special. And the race people and Ben, who's been streaming this whole thing, he went out and got Tallulah a turtle, because every time he would talk about Tallulah or Austin in the stream on Twitch, people would put up turtles for Tallulah. That's her thing. Just like Becs is flamingos. And so after Ben learned all this, he had to go get turtle. And so he got a turtle just to give to Tallulah at the finish line. I thought that was really sweet. And then Ben's girlfriend showed up in Miami, which was really funny because he was just like, oh, hi. It was just really cute because he's been like streaming for 8 hours a day for 7 days in a row. And some of the runners would take the camera and do a lap with the camera. And Austin today, Wednesday, the final day, took a lap and started talking to interview runners and stuff like that, running along with them, which was really awesome. Just to give Ben a little bit of a break. But I want to give a lot of credit to them because that was how I was able to follow along so closely. Yeah. So if you're a Twitch person, TLDR, and you should go follow them. They did a lot. They also raised a ton of money. There were 2 gentlemen out there running with one lung. They were raising money for an organization called Longevity, and you could still give money to that. There were all kinds of people raising all kinds of money for different organizations. It was just a love fest out there. There's a total of 60 people can enter this race at any one time. 56 runners went in to go do all 7 races. The gentleman, Willie, that I told you ran the first race and broke the world record, he won the first 5 and got injured and had to drop out for the last 2, which sucks. Merrick, who was the youngest person there, he's 18. I don't remember his last name. He just broke a world record for the youngest person to run all 7 marathons in 7 days. And there was also a gentleman, I believe his name is Dan, who's 81 years old, who completed all 7 of the marathons today. There's a lot of special things happening. And, it's so exciting because the entire Peloton community adopted all of these people. Like, they are all our people now. Ben is going to come to a Peloton event and all of these runners, whether they do Peloton or not, just became part of the Peloton community. We all started off supporting Becs, but like, we are so in it with all of them. We were cheering on everyone. It was so amazing. Like, that is what makes Peloton special. That is what makes the community special.
Yeah. It's a neat race. I mean, we've had other people on the show who have done it, and
they've done all 7 continents. They have not done 7 in 7 days.
Oh, okay.
This is the first time I have followed this race where it's 7 in 7 days.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, that's quite the accomplishment.
It is. Yeah. And we were in New York. We met a lady who I believe her name is Linda, and she is planning on doing this race next year.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So stay tuned for that because I am so excited to follow along. I'm in it. Like, this is the kind of thing that gets me so excited and makes me want to do big athletic events. I don't have $60,000, so there's no worry. I am not going to be entering this race. But if I were a faster person and had that kind of money to just throw around, that would be something I would do. That's so cool to be able to go around the world in 7 days. Yeah, that's amazing. Just amazing.
And I would go watch.
You would probably not go watch because I don't think that you would want to pay just to go watch.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't want to.
Yeah. You would just meet me in Miami like Austin did.
Okay. I'll do that one.
I expect you at a lot of miles in Miami. Not that this is really happening.
No, it is not. So Hannah Corbin has an article on Huffington Post about her medical mystery that she was battling for 2 years as she tried to figure out what the hell was happening.
Yeah, she finally was diagnosed with Hashimoto's, but as you said, there was a long period of time where she didn't know what was happening. It was just all these symptoms, and she was, as she puts it, suffering. She'd go to all these doctor appointments, she'd explain the symptoms, and then they would brush her off. Welcome to being a woman. I swear to God, this happens so many times with so many things. I'm not saying it doesn't happen to men. I'm just saying that I think men are taken at a different tack whenever it's like medical stuff, because it's all in your head when you're a woman. What a scary thing. I think that's the hardest part about having a disease until you know what it is. It's always that unknown.
Yeah,
right?
Because you're like, what is, because you just have no idea what's going on. So, and you're making it the worst possible answer until you have the actual answer.
And when somebody just says like, It's fine.
Yeah.
You're fine. And you don't feel good. Like, something's not right.
Yeah.
How maddening, how scary must that be?
For sure.
Like, that's like getting gaslit on a major level.
Yeah.
I feel really bad for her that she had to go through that. And, that whole time she was teaching at Peloton. She was still showing up every day.
Doing all the things.
That's hard.
Yeah.
That's hard to put that face on.
So for people who are unaware, not saying it's me,
Of course not.
but what is that?
Hashimoto's is an autoimmune condition, and it's the most common form of hypothyroidism, and that's an underactive thyroid. So obviously your thyroid hormones are going to contribute to a lot of things. They help regulate your weight, your energy, and your other bodily function. And since her thyroid in particular was producing very low levels of those hormones, that meant that her energy and metabolism had come to a near halt, which is devastating.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I just thought I would let you explain all that.
Sure. Yeah.
Let you take the spotlight.
I got you.
You're welcome. Axios has an interesting article this week about Latina fitness trainers, and we get a spotlight on Camila Ramon.
We do. Yeah. They talked about how Latina trainers are boosting the virtual fitness boom. And they highlighted a couple of different instructors, one of which was Camila Ramon. I have to say, Mariana should have been right next to her.
Yeah.
But I'm going to let it go.
Let it slide this time.
I'm going to let it slide. And they talked about that it's very important for Latina trainers to have these accessible workouts that are for home, because it's important so that people who are Latina, they have some of the highest rates of inactivity among racial and ethnic groups, according to CDC data.
Right.
And that exercise reduces the risks of type 2 diabetes. And it says that Hispanics have a 50% chance of developing that.
Wow.
Which is really, really high. Also, exercise can release endorphins, and that helps with anxiety and depression. So it's good because seeing somebody that you recognize and you feel comfortable with and like you feel gets you, that's going to make you a lot more interested in it than somebody you're like, they don't play my music.
Right.
They don't understand.
They don't speak my language.
Yeah. That's a big thing. So I think it's huge that Peloton was included in this article, and I'm really, really glad that they are continuing to build that out.
And speaking of diabetes,
yeah,
Robin Arzon spoke to prevention.com about diabetes.
Yeah, she, Robin has for a long time been very much a spokesperson about diabetes, and now she literally is a spokesperson. Right. And she talks about that she has type 1 diabetes, and that it was really tough for her. And when she first found out about it, managing it. And she also talks in this article, this conversation, a lot about getting screened for it, especially if you're at high risk, and like what all the things that you should consider for that. Because keep in mind that if it's affecting your blood sugar and your glucose, which are also affected by exercise, it can make it really dangerous for you to work out if that's something that you have not had diagnosed. And that's why it's such a big deal. Yeah. So it is a good idea to be checked out for that, especially if you have any family history or you have risk factors.
Adrian Williams had a post this week where he is working on, quote unquote, something special.
Yes. I don't know what it was, but it was something that was being filmed.
Yeah, it involved filming, we could see.
Yeah, and Peloton does film a lot of things, so I really have no idea what that was. Yeah, like,
is it a special class? Is it a promo for something? Is it, it could be, who knows?
Who knows? Maybe it's a new documentary. Maybe Adrian secretly went on all of the marathons with Becs, and he did a documentary.
That'd be a hell of a secret.
That would be a hell of a secret.
Stay off the Twitch feed. All the...
Yeah, that would be tough. Yeah. That would be tough to do.
And then film something back at home.
Right.
And post it on the internet.
That could have been done anytime. You don't know when that got filmed. You don't know.
Well, we will have to keep an eye on that to figure out just exactly what he is up to.
Yeah. I can say this. It was done in a gym setting. So make of that what you will.
Coming up after this, we're going to talk about Artist Series, and it is, I guess, because Thanksgiving is around the corner, it is a feast, a cornucopia, if you will, of Artist Series. This is Sirai.
So stick
around.
Peloton artist collaborations.
Peloton has debuted Time Machine Week.
They have, which is confusing.
How does this not involve Samyo and a DeLorean?
What a great question. That should have been the promo.
Yeah.
That should have been the promo. Samyo, if you are listening, I think the next Time Machine Week, you need to be in charge of. There needs to be a DeLorean. You need to be dressed up. This needs to be a thing.
And then the next year, Samyo and a TARDIS.
Ooh, I love it. Samyo, make it happen.
Yeah, I can do this all day long.
This would be fun.
Yeah, this is right up my alley.
It is right up your alley.
Yeah.
It's called Nerd Alley.
Yes.
And I love it.
Welcome to it.
Okay, so Time Machine Week, Peloton is saying it's going to be artist series featuring 80s and 90s artists.
Okay.
And this week it was Lionel Richie and Nirvana.
So Lionel, like, it's kind of, I'm like, how, there hasn't been a Lionel Richie series yet?
There hasn't.
Like, that's surprising.
Yeah and no, right? Because I say yeah and no because a lot of times these artist series are timed with, a new release coming out. And I don't know. I mean, maybe he's had one. I'm unaware.
I don't know the last time he put out new music.
Yeah.
He's so rich. He doesn't need to.
Right. And it's not like he has a big concert debut that he's doing or he was doing. And so a lot of times it's timed with something like that. If there's not a book or, something they're pushing, it makes it difficult.
Yeah.
And also these things take years to work out. So I am surprised, but I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Like we've had Lionel Richie music, but we haven't had an artist series.
Okay. So we're also getting a TLC artist series.
We are. This is not officially part of Time Machine Week.
Okay.
But we did get a TLC.
That's not confusing at all.
I know.
Here's a 90s group.
They specifically said Nirvana and Lionel Richie.
Okay.
I don't know why TLC isn't in there because they are definitely from
that era. It would make sense that they were part of it, but okay.
It would.
Okay. I
cannot explain what happens over there.
Oh, there is so much that happens at Peloton that we can't explain.
Yeah. Yes. But yeah, TLC. I mean, I love TLC. I mean, waterfalls. Need I say more? No scrubs. Need I say more?
Before TLC, I would chase them all the time.
You chase the scrubs?
No, the waterfalls.
The waterfalls.
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah. And then they were like, don't go chasing water. And I was like, that makes total sense.
And
ever since then, I stick to the rivers and streams.
That you're used to?
Those.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know that everybody's going to laugh at me, but funny little story. Back in the day, you didn't have like a way to know what the artist was saying.
Uh-oh.
And so I really thought the first several times I heard that song that it was Don't Go, Jason Waterfalls. I thought it was his name.
That's a hyper specific name.
Yeah.
Was Jason like a Native American?
I don't know.
Jason Waterfalls.
I don't know. It worked in my head, I just sang along with it. It was like, and then I realized like at some point it clicked and I was like, I think I saw the video. And I was like, got it.
Okay, so my version of that?
Yes.
I thought about this earlier. The Hootie and the Blowfish song where he says like, I'm such a baby.
Yeah.
Because the dolphins.
When the dolphins cry.
Because the
dolphins lost.
Because the dolphins make me cry.
Yeah.
I thought he was saying endorphins make me cry. And I was like, but endorphins don't make you cry.
Endorphins make you happy.
So I don't understand. What does that even mean?
Kids today just don't know how good they have it because they can pull up Spotify and see the lyrics instantly.
Right there.
There are never questions, And, back then we had to guess.
Yeah.
We had to guess our way through. You had to listen really carefully.
It was like the mid-90s. So like the internet was starting to come around.
It was starting to be there.
But your lyrics, you'd have to go to like some Usenet group.
Not only that, you had to use dial-up.
Yeah.
Like who wants to wait 5 minutes to figure out the answer to that question,
I even at their peak, I didn't care that much about Hootie and the Blowfish.
I didn't care about any artist that much in 1990 anything like not to sit still that long.
Yeah.
We didn't have phones, so you had to go sit in front of an actual computer.
I was in college, so I had to go to the computer lab.
Oh my God. Yeah,
where the internet was.
When Hotmail came around and I got my first Hotmail.
Oh, I thought you meant when you first met me.
No, that was later.
I thought because you said Hotmail.
Right.
So I thought you were talking about me.
That's a Hotmail.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's different. But yeah, so wow, we've got off on quite the rabbit hole.
We did. Well, before we leave the artist series section of the program, there's also an artist series featuring Scooter, which is not the Muppet. I was very disappointed. I was like, oh, I'm so glad that Scooter's finally getting some love. And it turns out it's not a Muppet. I don't know what this is. Just looking at this picture, I'm going to go out on a limb and say Germany.
Yes.
Okay.
It is German. Yeah. And it's like dance, EDM. Like it's really upbeat. It's really fun. There's like
this is the time on Sprockets when we dance.
There was a whole like really eye-catching video that was posted where Eric is like sleeping and he dreams of Scooter yelling harder, faster, Scooter at him because that's part of the song. And I'm not going to say it in the German thing because he's like, I'm going to make it sound
cultural appropriation.
Yeah. But then he wakes up and then it's he has to run to his Scooter class.
Gotcha.
But I do have to say we never talked about Nirvana. Like there's a Nirvana. There's also a Nirvana artist series that we kind of just skipped right over. And they also are this week. I mean, it has been a while since we have had this many artist series in one sitting. So I guess Peloton is back with the artist series. I guess it won't be once a month like I had thought.
Or they're just blowing through these and they'll go right back to once a month.
That could be. But yeah, the Nirvana is going to happen. There's going to be several classes. And also an interesting thing about these is that they weren't in the typical fashion that we see them. So what I mean by that is there weren't any English speaking classes for like tread or bike for some of these. And people were like legit bummed out about it. But keep in mind, guys, that those have like the captions. So you can still follow along. They may not have it day one when it's live, but like they will usually get the captions and they're a lot of fun.
Do the Google Translate trick.
That's right. That is right.
So I'm looking at the next topic, and I think there might be a glitch because I think this is a story from 4 years ago.
It should be.
There's a new fitness mirror device coming out.
I mean, my eyes rolled so hard.
Has there been a breakthrough in abacus technology? Well, like, what are we doing?
It's a little bit different in that they have like a bar attached to this. Ooh. So it's kind of like they're trying to horn in on tonal
a little bit.
Yeah. But it's kind of like half mirror, half tonal.
Right.
And they meet in the middle.
It's the worst of both worlds.
But keep in mind, this is going to Kickstarter. So this has not been officially launched. It's supposed to officially launch on Kickstarter on December 3rd. It's a new smart home gym, and it's from a company called Aiki. I don't know how you pronounce this because it's spelled AEKE.
Okay.
And then that is established by Dohogne Future
so if
Technology.
it stops working, it'll be achy breaky.
Yes, that is true. That is true. They did win a Red Dot Award for this home gym.
What do we know what a Red Dot Award is?
Not even a little bit.
Okay.
But this home gym supposedly creates tailored fitness program recommendations based on goals. So it uses AI, and it offers features such as precision motion tracking to ensure real-time feedback on form, speed, balance, and rep count. Users can customize music playlists with surround sound and engage in fitness competitions with friends. Like tonal.
Yeah. So the thing I thought was the most interesting about this is that it does not have a subscription service.
That is
this
interesting.
Is the second new device in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That one of its selling points.
The first one was Hydro, if anybody is wondering.
Yeah.
You didn't listen to the last episode.
But that's the second time in 2 weeks we have a new device that doesn't have a subscription model.
It's interesting because that means one of two things. You're either going to have a very limited set of classes.
Right.
Or you're gonna it's basically like videos then, right?
And so my thought process, this is where my head went, is because everybody now wants that ongoing revenue, right? And so I wonder if there will be a small number of classes that are free, but then there will also be a subscription version. So you don't have to get the subscription, but like they will only slowly push out new content. And if you get tired of the content, you're going to have to subscribe if you want more content frequently.
Listen, I don't know whether you're right or not, but I'm telling you, this article specifically says subscription free.
Interesting.
I see where your brain's going.
Right.
That makes a lot of sense to
that
me.
it, almost like, I don't know, like cable, like, oh, here's something free, but if you want this other thing, you got to pay for it. Like, so we will give you content. They'll be creating content for the subscribers, and the people that are free, they get that content or a third of that content 6 weeks later.
I also think that one of the things that you're paying for here is the AI attached to it, right? So if you say these are your goals, it's going to completely change up your workouts that it's giving you. So it's kind of like Peloton's Strength Plus program,
right?
Which is going to take AI and say, you say, these are my goals, and it makes a workout for you. But my question for all y'all, and all y'all being Peloton Strength Plus, Hydro, and this one, whatever, Achy Breaky. How are you going to help people progress? If you that's great that you can make a workout,
right?
But like, I've seen what AI does for a program. It doesn't do a great job. It's not there yet. I'm not saying it will be there. I have no doubt, but it is not there yet where it can take into account your special needs. I don't understand how any of that is going to help people progress. Now, if all you care about is just a workout and you're not so much worried about the progression aspect of it, okay.
Yeah.
But I just don't see the point. Like that's just not who I am. So I'm like, why would you even bother if you're not going to have a progression? Now, I will also say Peloton in general doesn't really have a way to progress. Like that irritates me.
Yeah.
Now, certain instructors have gone around that and they've made things that do progress. But like, that is where, in my opinion, Tonal excels, because they have so many ways for you to progress, and they are very clear about those plans and how to do that. So,
and it's very quantifiable.
Absolutely.
Like you see it, and your weight's going up, your strength score is going up. Like it's very tangible, the progression.
Yeah, exactly. So that's my question to all of them. I would love to get a real answer. That'd be cool.
New content.
It is time for the TCO Top 5.
Okay. Number 1.
You're just going into it
I'm just
before
going
I
in.
try to explain what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to tell you the favorite classes that were chosen by TCO.
See, it's not as easy as I make it look.
The collective chose these classes. The favorite strength class this week was taught by Rad Lopez on October 3rd. It was a 30-minute glutes and legs, and Robin MD recommended this class. She said, I love that his programming is hard and it's geared toward building strength for runners. If you're hoping to improve your runs, don't sleep on the strength.
Okay. Number 2, am I still allowed to?
Oh, yeah, you can
because
still.
you stepped on that too.
Well, you can jump in.
Do you even need me?
I mean, of course I
can
do.
just go to the bathroom or something. I'm in my mid-50s.
If I give you 5 minutes, I'm sure you will.
I'm in my mid-50s.
You will pee soon.
I'm always going to the bathroom. So number 2, your favorite ride.
This ride was taught by Tunde, and it was taught on November 8th. It was a 20-minute 90s ride. This ride was nominated by Katie Bromley. She said the ride had a great playlist and it was a great sweat, but not too hard. It hit the sweet spot.
I remember when I was 44 and I would say I was in my mid-40s, and you would insist that I was not in my mid-40s until I was 45.
That's true.
And I find it interesting that now when I'm 54 and I say I'm in my mid-50s, you're just like, yep.
Well, I didn't say yep. See,
but you did not deny.
You want to know why?
Why is that?
Because you have worn me down. You argue with me, and I've argued with you for win. I can't believe you could say that. Well, you did last. You didn't say it with a straight face, but like, you've worn me down. It's been 9 years of having this conversation, and you just wear me down.
Okay.
So if that's what you want to think, you go right ahead and think it.
Number 3. We are at the midpoint of the TCO Top 5.
We are officially there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your favorite outdoor walk.
This was taught by Matt Wilpers on November 4th. That's the day it dropped. It was a 30-minute metabolic health walk. And Deborah Anzalon recommended this ride. She said, or this walk rather, it was fun to learn about metabolic health from Dr. Patel while walking. And it also has a great playlist. So that's a lot of fun.
Yeah. You don't get a lot of that from Wilpers. people say.
What? Fun?
No, great playlist.
Oh.
They always say the playlists are all wonky.
I mean, on his Power Zone, people really do. They pick.
Look, I think we all know I've never taken one. I don't know. I'm just telling you the impression I get from the things that people on the show have said over the years.
It's true. There's a lot of complaining. I mean, yeah.
Number 4, your favorite Power Zone ride.
Okay, so Christian Vandevelde taught this class as a 45-minute Power Zone classic ride, and it took place, classic rock ride, and it was taught on November 17th. Jeff Hutt and Eileen Edwards McCracken both absolutely loved this ride. They both loved the music.
Okay.
And the workout. Jeff said it had crazy zone 6 and zone 2 intervals. And Eileen commented the zone 6 was hard, but she did it and she's really charged up now. And now she's getting a lot done at home. And people that love the music, just a note here. Any class that starts with Sympathy for the Devil and ends with China Grove and so many other favorite songs in the middle will pump you up for the rest of the day for sure. That is a good playlist right there.
And finally, number 5, your Unstackable.
Holy crap. This one, I could not count the number of nominations this got. This was the 120-minute global Power Zone endurance ride with 9 instructors. 2 highlights here, and we're going to talk about it a little bit more in the next segment. You have a whole thing because we have an article.
I was like, actually, we can just roll into it right now.
Oh, you just want to roll into it?
Yeah, because it's the next thing.
Let's just roll into it.
So we have an article reviewing the Global Power Zone ride from Helper B. Elizabeth.
Oh my gosh. This article, first of all, this article was just great. Like Elizabeth, she always does a great job writing articles, but this was just like a love fest. Mm-hmm. And this class, I haven't taken it, but to me, this is like old school classes that everybody got excited about.
Yeah.
You know, where like everyone was on the stream at the same time.
It's like old school comic book crossovers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so what they did is they had a total of 9 instructors and they all paired up. So it was like the all for one rides.
How does 9 people pair up?
Well, because it's like, I think Matt was in 2 places. Like he was like at the beginning with somebody and then he was at the end with somebody.
Gotcha.
There was also a surprise because Christian Vandervelde showed up and he was in there. And like nobody knew that was going to happen. And then the fact that it took place in the different studios. So, you know, you had New York and you had the UK studios. And don't forget the German instructors teach out of the UK studios. So it was kind of like, you know, you had all 3. So it really did have a really cool global aspect to it. But I think the most exciting part about this was that everybody chose different songs. So like all the instructors had a hand in the playlist.
Yeah.
The banter felt real and genuine. That is so important when they do these things. And the energy was super high. Like people were having a great time in the studio. The people at home were having a great time. There were so many people on the live leaderboard and they all showed up. They stayed there for 2 hours.
Wow.
Like think about that. And then halfway through the ride, the Peloton staff came in and gave every single person a banana just to help them. and like Christian Vandevelde famously hates bananas. And so he had his own orange. I just thought that was so great. But like this article breaks all of those details down. Like Elizabeth nailed this article. And it really brings the excitement. So if you haven't taken the class and you're like, do I want to jump in? Am I ready for a 2-hour ride? Please don't be scared. Read this article, prepare yourself and jump in. Have fun because you don't have to hit all the things that the Peloton instructors are saying to hit. This is to do for fun.
Peloton birthdays.
And we got one birthday this week, Bradley Rose, who will be celebrating on November 22nd.
Well, happy birthday to Bradley Rose.
Happy birthday. And coming up after this, we're going to talk to Ellen, so stick around.
Checking in with the Peloton community.
Joining us today via the magic of ZoomTube is Ellen Dohogne. Hey, how's it going?
Hi.
Hi, guys. I'm doing awesome. How are y'all?
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being here today. I always like to start these conversations by understanding how you found Peloton. So how did you come across Peloton and decide, I want to try this thing?
Oh, yeah, of course. So I love telling this story because it's just like I have people who always ask me, like, what got you into it? And I'm like, okay. So I was a CrossFit addict from about 2014 all the way until 2020 when we had the fun shutdown because of the pandemic happen. So I felt really lost. I didn't really know what to do. My CrossFit gym closed. And I don't remember where I saw Peloton advertisement, probably on social media somewhere. But I was like, oh, that sounds cool. Let me, I'll download the app and see what's going on. I see they have strength classes. Maybe I could do some like outdoor runs. And that's where my obsession started. I downloaded the app. I did some outdoor runs with Becs. It was usually Becs or Olivia. And then I slowly forayed into some strength, and then it just spiraled from there. I got the bike and then I got the tread. But that's really where I first started is I did CrossFit. It closed because of the pandemic. I felt lost. I didn't know what to do. And then I found Peloton and yeah, I'm super thankful.
That's fascinating because CrossFit is, they're notoriously like CrossFit is the best. Like that's, and so
you got to grunt after you say it.
At least the boys do.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so,
I did too.
Okay. Well, good enough. Well, good job. Yeah. So like that had to be, was there like a culture shock there? Were your friends like, why are you going to a new church? Like, what is...
Absolutely. I don't want to use this C word, but maybe I can just use it. It does sometimes feel kind of like a cult, or CrossFit did, right?
Yeah.
It was like, there's nothing better than this. This is all you need to be doing. And to be honest, like I had a baby in 2016, and all throughout my pregnancy, I did CrossFit, and I really attribute that to my healthy pregnancy and my super healthy delivery. Like there was no complications. But afterwards, I took a break and I went back. And it didn't quite feel the same. And I think I just didn't know, neither I nor the trainers knew like what I needed really for my body, postpartum. Mm-hmm. And so when I found Peloton and, completely switched up the routine and like shocked my body, I loved it. And I got so many questions from the owner of the gym, like, are you ever going to come back? We're going to be reopening soon. Like what? And I'm a people pleaser. And so it's really hard for me to tell someone no. And I had to tell them, I don't think I'm coming back, guys. Like I found this thing that I love. I thank CrossFit for all you've done for me kind of type thing. But like, I don't think I'm ever going to go back. I think that as you grow and maybe as your body grows and changes, I think that different styles of workouts work for you differently. Sure. And so I think that's what happened. But it was really hard. It was hard to say bye. It was absolutely. Like a family, but I found my new family with Peloton. So I'm fine. If that makes sense.
No, it's also like your social circle in a lot of ways. And so, but I'm sure it's also appealing that like you can still do things and you don't have the drive time, especially with a new baby or I guess a toddler by now. So, that makes total sense. Do you still do any of the CrossFit type stuff? Are you still going out to the garage and like juggling tractor tires or whatever you guys do?
No? I'm not. It's funny. I have flipped a few tires in my time, and it makes you feel super strong and super powerful and super, but like, now I feel that in a different way. Like I can do, I've done a few of the strength, programming, like the splits. And that makes me feel super powerful in of itself. So, but yeah, I used to flip tires. Now I just flip dumbbells, but that's okay. That's what works for me now.
For sure.
I find it fascinating that when you started with Peloton, you started on the tread because like in my mind, and this just goes to show people make such big assumptions. But like, if you're a CrossFit person and you're coming to Peloton, you would be like, oh, I want to try strength first. So I find it fascinating that you were like, I'm going to try this tread class. And then
I'm going to try running.
Yeah. That's like, because they're not necessarily, a person who lifts weights is not necessarily somebody who loves to run. So I
can tell you why.
Yeah. Tell me. I want to know.
Okay. I can tell you why. Well, this is what, my dad's German. I'm half German. My mom's Colombian. And I have it. I feel like I have it in my inherent DNA that when I do strength workouts, I gain muscle. I gain muscle really easily. I gain it everywhere. And so that was part of also the reason was like, you know what, I feel like I need to just switch things up. My husband also used to work at at a gym here in Texas. It was Spectrum, but now it's Gold's. Gold's Gym bought it. And he wasn't a trainer, but he was a salesperson. And he kept telling me like, hey, if you want to see different results, you're going to have to switch things up. And so also I had that. And I was like, you know what, let's just do some running and let's just do some like light strength training. And I really found that it like worked for me a lot better than just those heavy weights that was causing like my German ancestry in me to be like, let's put on all the pounds because, you know, there's a war coming. Like, that's how it felt.
You have an endomorph body type. So do I. I hear you. Yeah.
But she also, it says here in the notes, plays a hell of a glockenspiel. So
is that what
there's that. There is that.
There is that. There's some good things about it.
Yeah.
So when you moved over to Peloton, you started with the tread. You started a tread class. It sounds like you've gotten a tread. You've gotten a bike. Are you doing row? Is row on the horizon for you as well?
You know what? Let's ask my husband about that. Let's see how we can incorporate the rower.
You can take the girl out of CrossFit, but you can't take CrossFit out of the girl, right? She's like, I'm doing it all.
Well,
I'm buying a bike, a tread, a row, a bike plus, a tread plus, a guide plus.
She needs to have options. I just know she likes options. That's all.
I do like options. I do. And you know, it's funny. I did start running, but I would do the tread classes on the app.
Okay.
Like I didn't get the tread until recently. I got the bike first.
Yeah.
You know, fell in love with more of the different instructors. And then I was like, I have to get the tread because I'm also kind of a baby and I don't like running outside if it's really hot or
you
really
live
cold.
in Texas. You live in Texas. That's
really
all
hot.
you need to say. Yeah.
Right.
Miserable.
Like, I'm okay with some heat. I'm okay with it. I love to sweat. I love it. But like excessive, I just don't. I don't. And so I was like, I really want the tread. And by that time I had the bike paid off and it just worked out. So do I want the rower? Yes. But I also have like PTSD from like rowing and CrossFit and I didn't really love it. So I don't know. It wasn't my favorite thing.
That's funny. That's funny. No, that makes a lot of sense. I encourage you to take some classes on the app and see if you like some of the instructors that are there because I think they're a lot of fun. Like Alex K, who's one of the row instructors, is also an Olympian. And he is like so different than any of the other instructors. He just tells these like random stories and you forget you're rowing. It's kind of like Becs on the tread. You know, she'll just be talking about something and you totally forget you're running. That's how it is with the rowing. And I love that.
I hear that. I feel you. To be fair, I run, but I don't love it. But I feel like I don't know. It's a weird relationship I have with running. Like I do it. And I love it when I'm done, right? But when I'm doing it, I can't separate from the fact that it just sucks sometimes.
I mean, it does.
It does.
That's exactly how I feel about exercise. All of it. All of it.
But coming from CrossFit, you kind of embrace that suck sometimes and you like it. And so it's weird. It's a weird, like, semi-masochistic ideology, but it works.
I choose to think of it as you enjoy the results. And so you...
Yes. But yep, exactly.
How would
She's
you...
like, yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah. How would you classify Peloton versus CrossFit? Like tell us what it feels like being in both communities. You've been in both communities, so like...
Who's weirder?
Yeah. Come on, tell us the good stuff.
Who's weirder? Honestly, CrossFit's a lot weirder, I think. I feel like. It's just very... it's hard to explain, but it was just very, I guess, cult-like, but not in a bad way because, you know, it was like a family. And so that's where there are similarities is that you found your family and you feel accepted and you feel, but I think with CrossFit, they had more of a mentality of like I was saying, we're the best and you don't do anything else and Peloton's more like, hey, like, you can do whatever you feel like you need to be doing or like your body wants to do or like what makes you happy, like what motivates you to wake up and want to move. You know what I mean? Do that. And if it's us, great. And if it's not, cool. And like, I don't think CrossFit was like that at all. I think that's the main difference.
Okay.
CrossFit was definitely weirder though. Like weirder.
Well,
there are some stories from that gym. Like I always said that there should be like a real Housewives of CrossFit, like reality show, because it would just be crazy. It was always drama.
Well, now I want to hear a story. We got to hear one story, at least one.
I mean, do you really? I mean, it was like...
Yeah, I want to know.
I mean, it was like, you know, how sometimes when you go to work and you like meet someone and like they give you attention, and like it was kind of like that. Like, it's, I mean, not with me, but like there were definitely some like families kind of because of CrossFit.
Well, so, I'm not trying to throw shade at Peloton either, but it's happened in Peloton too.
And it's not
always a bad thing, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like you come together over this like new, like this thing that you both have intensely in common. And especially if things for whatever reason aren't working in your current situation, like it's not crazy that when you have all these things in common, you know, but it does make people raise an eyebrow and want to have some conversations. It's hard not to. Yeah. It's hard not to.
And it's not like no one's ever accused Peloton of cult-like behavior.
Yeah. I remember the New York Times article. It was like the cult of Peloton had like a rainbow and
even when I talk to people about it, sometimes I do tell them, I'm like, I mean, it's not really a cult. It's not, but like I don't know, you might feel like it is whenever you want to do it every day. And like you talk about, like, if you're me, you talk about the instructors, like, you know them. And my husband's like, who are these people? And I'm like, oh, it's and he's like, what is wrong with you? I'm like, you don't get it. You don't get it. It's fine.
So he doesn't do CrossFit or Peloton? He does neither?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, he does what he calls yard fit.
Oh.
He does yard work. That's his, like, you know, exercise is my, you know, calming, peaceful. His is yard work. So he calls it yard fit.
It's got to be done. So, I mean, if he's willing to do it, that's great.
Yeah.
Gets you out to hire a lawn service or a gardener. So guess it's...
I think might as well do it yourself.
Yeah.
So that's how he keeps in shape.
Okay.
But no, he doesn't. He's asked me before, like, is it easy if I just go on the tread and walk? I'm like, yes, you do this and this. And he's like, never done it. So.
A man after my own heart.
I know.
Yeah. Does your yard look great at least?
It does.
Okay.
He's really good at it.
That's
he's
good.
Super good at it. I'm going to, brag on him a little bit. He's very good.
Okay, so you didn't go back to CrossFit. You're still doing Peloton. Do you take like all the different kinds of classes, or are you kind of like just bike and tread? Just to, like, tell us how that works out for you.
Oh, I do all of them. So I do like the whole switching up a little bit every so often. So every few months I follow, like, are you guys familiar with a hardcore calendar? I follow that for a few months, and then, you know, I'll get kind of not bored, but like, okay, let's do something else. And I'll do like a strength split or a strength program. And I also incorporate yoga on recovery days. I do a lot of outdoor walks because I walk our two dogs. And so I feel like I do a little bit of everything. I think the classes that I haven't really tapped into the like meditation and like those just because I've tried and I can't get into it. Nothing against it. I just can't. I don't know if my brain works in the way that you can just like listen to somebody and like.
I think that if you're interested in getting to know it more, I suggest you start with a 5-minute. Okay. And I would also recommend that Ross Rayburn's no longer with Peloton, but his attitude towards meditation is very like inclusive. And it's like even a long run or a run where you get into a meditative state is meditation. And so with that approach, there is no wrong way to meditate. And a lot of the instructors will say that. And I find that very helpful, because if you're thinking about something else and you have to kind of come back, it's not that you did something wrong. And I find it very, I like to do everything perfectly. So whenever somebody tells me that, then it's permission to not have done it in a certain way, which is easier for me. So if you're interested in it and you want to try it again, I definitely would kind of look for instructors that have those shorter classes and start there. It makes a big difference. Yeah.
That makes sense for sure, because you're right. I do, I've tried them and my mind will wander, and you're right. I get that mentality of like, I'm not doing it right. Like, why am I even doing this? And to your point, like if I do yoga, which I love, you kind of also get into a meditative state there as well as running. So I hear you. Like, I hear you on that. I would totally, with the change in mindset, I'll try it again.
Okay.
I've heard nothing but good things and people swear by it. And I always tell my husband, because he has a hard time falling asleep, I'm like, why don't you try to listen to like a meditation? And he looks at me like I'm crazy. So
I hardly ever come across men that have a hard time sleeping. Like, that's fascinating to me.
It's flipped. I can fall asleep right away, and he has such a hard time. So.
Oh, well, every woman on the planet kind of hates you a little bit just for that.
I have my stuff. I wake up at 3 a.m. a lot for no reason.
Yeah.
So that's always fun.
As you get older, that just happens for funsies. Yeah.
I know. I read that. I'm like, is this a thing? Like,
Yes.
is this, nope, is this going to get worse?
Yeah.
Great.
Awesome.
That's why old people get up so early.
I know, right?
Because they're just up already.
They're already up.
I guess I will start. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I mean, we talk about it all the time, how early we get up now. Like, even when we're like, we can sleep in tomorrow, and we wake up at we get to sleep 6:45.
We
like
slept in this morning till 6:30. That's what time we slept.
God.
Yeah, that's sleeping in.
You also have like that internal clock where, because my son, he's 8 now, and like no matter what, like I'm like, I can't wait until you get to the age where you sleep in, because he's like up at 7 no matter what, because that's when he gets up for school. And I'm like,
the irony.
The irony indeed.
By the time he gets there, you will no longer possess that power.
It's not even a possibility.
See?
It's gone.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I'm curious though, with all the different instructors that you've taken classes with, who is your favorite, or what group of instructors are your favorites?
Oh my gosh, I have to say my favorite is Camila. When she came on, it was such a difference. Like before her, I had gravitated towards like Robin and Tunde and Alex, like kind of the more harder. I mean, they all have hard classes, but I like to get my butt kicked. Again, this is part of the whole, like, I think my mentality is like, I feel like I'm not doing enough if I'm not like dying at the end of a workout, which isn't necessarily healthy, but that's very common. But when Camila came and she started doing her Spanish classes, because I speak Spanish because of my mom, and just the way that she spoke, like the way she spoke and the way that she communicated, and like the way that she looked and the way that she spoke to that, with like being in the Latin community and like embracing like your curves and embracing, I have big hips and a big butt, and it's like, that's okay. Like, you don't have to look a certain way and think that you have to look a certain way. And she really embraces that, and I freaking love that. And so she's like 100% my favorite.
That's awesome. Yeah. Have you gotten to take a class with her live in the studio?
Yes, I recently did, and it was like the best experience ever. It was, so I crossed my fingers that I was going to get to do like a reggaeton ride or a Spanish ride, but it was her first metal ride.
Oh.
And it killed me. Like, I died. Like, I fully expected to go in. Like, you know how a lot of people say that, oh, we're going to PR when you go in the studio. Like, it's a whole different vibe. And I was like, I got this. Like, yes. And I died. It humbled me. Like, it was hard.
We are talking to your ghost.
I cannot. Like, I was like, this was terrible. But it was awesome. You know what I mean? It was so cool. Like, the whole experience, and everybody was so nice there.
Yes.
And so welcoming. It was great.
It's like Disneyland for Peloton people.
Right?
It's really great.
Like, people could not understand how excited I was. Like, why? It's just a class. I'm like, no, it's not.
I totally understand.
Is metal not your music of choice?
It's so intense.
No, I'm just curious, like, musically, like, were you like, who are these bands? Or
I mean, I knew
Godsmack.
Right?
Yeah.
And I know Slipknot. Like, in high school, I kind of was a chameleon, and like I dated, a guy who liked that.
You can say it. Burnouts. Yeah.
But no, metal is not my music of choice, especially not for working out. But it was still awesome. It was so great.
That's awesome.
So, what is your leaderboard name?
Oh, it's Will Spin, the number 4, Cake TX. So Will Spin for Cake, Texas. And the reason for that is because I also, I'm a baker on the side. Like, it's kind of like a side hustle. I love to bake. So Will Spin for Cake is like, okay, I'm going to work out so I could eat cake. That's
good for you.
Really my motto.
Good. That's awesome. A lot of fun.
Yeah. Absolutely. So do you have any advice for people just entering the world of Peloton?
Yes. So, and I tell people this all the time when they ask me. I have my good friend just reached out to me the other day and was like, I think I want to get a used Peloton. Like, and I was like, okay, let's talk about it. And like, I have all this advice. But I think the main thing I tell people is that if you do get one, like say you get a bike and you start doing classes, and it might take you a little bit to find out like what your niche is, right? Like what your music is that like really motivates you, who the instructors are that really motivates you. And if you don't find that out right away, don't like just stop. Don't give up after a couple weeks. You've got to keep going. And once you find that and you kind of make it a routine, then like you'll love it and you'll get addicted. But you have to give it a try, and you have to try out. I mean, I would try out all the different instructors, right? All the different kinds of music. And so that would be my main like advice is don't give up if you don't like this class right away or this class. You have to try. There's so many, like try them all. And then once you find that little niche that you love, like you'll love it.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's stages of Peloton, because when you first start, you don't know who, and then you like try people out, and then you like fall in love with one, and then you won't take any classes with anybody else, and then you're like, oh, I feel like I need to take more, and then you take a bunch more, and then you start falling in love with other instructors, and you go through phases of like, I really like this and I really like that. So it's a journey.
That is true. That is true. Don't be afraid of change, right? Some instructors might leave, and don't let that, discourage you or say like, oh, I'm just not gonna do it anymore because there's nobody. Like keep trying, and you might surprise yourself, right? Like I'll try meditation and I might surprise myself and really love it. You just have to change that mindset. So
yes,
absolutely.
I guess be open-minded, right?
Yeah.
Great advice. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Before we let you go, let everybody know where they can find you in all the places if you would like to be found.
Sure. So I'm on Instagram. I am Hey Cupcake 6513.
Sensing a theme.
I just kind of made up the numbers, but cupcake, yes, because I like to bake. And then again, we'll spin 4 Cake TX on the leaderboard on Peloton.
And she also has some gently used tractor tires for sale if you want to reach out.
Gently flipped.
Yes.
Not very damaged.
Yeah.
Hit me up. I also have like some round weights somewhere that go in a bar. Like I'm like, I don't need these anymore. What am I going to use these? Like, what am I going to use these for? So let me know.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Of course. Thank you guys.
Clip out.
So I guess that brings this episode to a close. Until next time, where can people find you?
People can find me on Facebook at facebook.com /Crystal D. O'Keefe. They can also find me on all the socials and the Peloton leaderboard at Clip Out Crystal.
And you can find me on Threads and Blue Sky at Tom O'Keefe Jr. or on Facebook.
Did you give up Twitter?
It's still there, but I haven't done anything with it.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I'm going to stop plugging it.
Yeah.
Because it's gross.
It is gross.
I'll say it.
Okay.
It's the end of the show. You stuck around this long. I'll give you a peek inside the window in case you didn't know. It's gross.
It is indeed.
So you could also find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Tom O'Keefe. You can find the show online at, wherever you are. I don't need to say that because you already do all that.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah. And patreon.com/theclipout. $5 a month. We like you extra. You get all sorts of extra stuff. We talk at you even more.
Which we're going to go do right now.
We are right after I pee.
Okay.
So that's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in. And until next time, keep pedaling
and running
and rowing.
Bye.